Hey guys, I hope you're doing all good out there. Today we're going to get stuck into Li'L Jack Horny. I'm going to look at the whole song. I'm going to break it down into each part, intro parts, verse, choruses, look at all the little details of what Nuno's playing on this. Apart from the solo, which I've already done, so if you want to learn how to play the solo in all great detail, check out the Master That Solo lesson on it. You can learn to play Nuno solo. But today it's all about the rhythm parts. So if you want access to the HELIX patch I've created for this, or the tone tips on it, or the sound slice animated tab, so you can loop bits and play along with the audio and stuff, come on over to the Patreon. You've got access to that sort of stuff there as well. So tuning wise, I'm in drop D but half step down. So what I've got here is the low D flat, and then A flat, D flat, G strings down to G flat, B's down to B flat, and then that top string E flat, E's down to E flat. Okay, so the intro sounds like this. So for this intro bit, Nuno's got some delay on, just to let the harmonics kind of ring out. But if we break this down into little chunks, our first bit sounds like this. Yeah, and so what I'm playing here, these are all natural harmonics. I'm playing a natural harmonic 9th fret of that low string, then 5th fret, then I'm doing 7th fret, and then I'm going to do 7th fret of the A string, 7th fret of the D, and then back to 9th fret harmonic on that low D string. The finger wise, I feel comfortable using like 4th, 1st and 3rd to do that. You might want to do it all with one finger if that feels more comfortable. As long as you're getting a nice, clear harmonic out of that, yeah? Because you want to just gently rest that finger on the harmonic note to get the note. And when you're moving about like this and playing kind of little melodies with it, sometimes you can kind of lose accuracy on it, so watch out for that. So that's our first little phrase. Then you go. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to now go to 5th fret, that low D string, 7th fret, then I'm going to play 7 in the A, 7 in the D, then 7th fret in that E string, or the low D string, sorry. Then I'm going to do 5th fret G string, and then 4th fret the D string. And watch out for that 4th fret D string, that you're not too far forward. Think about moving backwards a little bit behind the fret to get that node there. Yeah, so when you put the two bits together, it kind of sounds like that. You repeat that all again, and we have a next little phrase that sounds like this. So what I'm doing is I'm playing 4th fret harmonic on that low E string, low D string, sorry. Then I'm going to do 7 on the D string, 7 in the G, and then 4th fret on that A string. Yeah. Then I'm going to play 7th fret the G, and then 12th fret the G. So you got a big jump there. Again, I'm using the 4th finger for this, you know. Yeah, because the reason I do that, it keeps these fingers ready to jump back here for the next kind of phrase, which sounds like this. Yeah, and then so what I'm doing here is I'm now going to play 7th fret in the D harmonic, 7th fret in the G, back to D, and then 4th fret the A string, and then 7th fret the G, so it's got that. Yeah. And then I end it off with 4th fret the A string harmonic, and then 5th fret that low D string harmonic. So you can see if you keep that 4th finger there, it's easier to kind of move that back there. I think Nuno kind of moves about a bit more with these kind of fingers. And our last phrase sounds like this. Yeah, so I'm doing here is 5th fret harmonic, that low D string. Then we'll do 7 in the D, 7 in the G, back to 7 in the D. Then I'm going to do 5th fret harmonic in the B string to the G string, and then 7th fret the B string, G string. But let that ring. And that's your kind of intro harmonics. So now we lead into the main riff, and that sounds like this. So this is one of my favourite Nuno riffs, and I think it's a favourite of mine, one, because it's tuned down low, so it has a real heaviness to it, but it's the groove and the heaviness, which I think is always a great kind of combo. So it has the groove because we've got the song 16th finger on again, so instead of just even 16ths, you've got... So your downstrokes, if you're keeping it strict alternate picking, your downstrokes are longer than your upstrokes, timing wise. Yeah. So after we do the harmonic intro, we're just going to slide down and beat 4 of that bar and we get stuck into our kind of main riffs, which I guess is like a 4-bar riff. But the first bar of that sounds like that. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to play that D string, low D string twice, and then 3-0. You know, I'm down, up in that. With a bit of pan mute as well, so it's got a bit more punch. Then I'm going to do 2-0 pull off on the A string, 3-0 pull off on the D string. But of course it's swung. You know, so you sit on the fretted note a little bit longer. Then you have 3-2 in the A string, but a staccato feel, so they pop. You know, so make sure they're kind of short and stabby. Then I go. So I'm doing a little twiddle here. I'm doing 2-3 hammer, pull off to 2, pull off to open A string, and then 3-0 on that D string. Again with down and upstroke. Yeah, and that D string there kind of sustains into the next bar. So when you're playing the next bit of the riff, you actually start on an upstroke and doing 0-3-0 for the next bit. Yeah, so that kind of goes. So you do that all again, and then you end with something that sounds like this. Yeah, so what I'm going to do here is I'm sliding to 5th fret the D string. Use the 3rd finger there. Then I play 3rd fret of that D string with a bit of a pinch harmonic, so you dig in there. Then I'm going to do a classic bit of Nuno muted legato. I'm going to do 0 on the A string, hammer from nowhere, 3rd fret A string with the 1st finger, and then hammer from nowhere, 5th fret in the low string. That's 3 notes. Then I'll do it again, open A string, and then hammer from nowhere, 3-5 on the D string. Yeah, but watch out for the timing of that because it's, they're 16th note triplets, but it's swung again. You know, it has this kind of rolling kind of groove to it. So that's the first 2 bars. You basically repeat that first bar again. Do all that. Then you have an ending that sounds like this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm doing a hammer and pull off, and this is a bit stretchy, so I'm thinking 3rd, 5th and 7th frets here. I'm going to do a hammer and pull off on the A string, the 1st and 2nd finger, 3-5-3. Then a hammer from nowhere, 7th fret of that D string. Yeah, and then after I've done that, I play 5th fret the D string there, and I pick that. So you have that kind of feel. Then I go back to 3rd fret in the A string. Then I slide. So you could use the middle finger again, but it's a grace note slide, 5th to 7th fret in that D string. And then I end it off by playing 3-5 on that D string. Pan muted, yeah, before you do it round again. So that kind of goes. Oh. Yeah, make sure you get that slide to the 7th fret. And that's kind of the 4 bars of your riff. So you repeat all that again. But in bar 8 of that repeat, we have the never-ending pick slide. So you've just done this. Yeah, because it has to last the whole bar there. So you've kind of got this pick scrape for 3 beats. I like to do the pick scrape and then slide with the left hand to kind of lead into the riff again. But I think watching Nuno live, he does like a pick scrape and then bring a pick back to make it even kind of longer. And once you've done that, you're basically playing that riff again all the way through. It's just the ending, so you've got another 4 bars, so you play all the way through, and instead of doing the ending here, we have something that goes before we get into the verse. So what Nuno's doing here is he's just done the, then we have our 0-3-0 as usual on that D string, but then we hit it twice again and play a C to D power chord on the A string there, so 3rd fret, 5th fret, and then just up 2 frets. Yeah, and then you have a little percussive again. So that I would do maybe with an upstroke in the percussive. So I'm doing this power chord shift in a downstroke, down up like that. And then we have at the end, so what I'm playing here is both the D and the A strings pan muted 0-3-0. And that leads into kind of the verse riff. And that verse riff sounds like this. So our verse is 8 bars long, and what we're doing here is pretty much vamping on this little thing in the bottom strings here. So remember, we've led into this after the main riff with a 0-3-0 on the D and A strings, pan muted, with an up and down stroke. Then what I've got is basically I'm going to do 0-3-0, 5-0-3-0, like that. That's kind of your little kind of riff there. Now, we're going to be playing that pretty much just about every bar, but sometimes you've got that rest on beat 3 now, so it's, and sometimes you hear little noises, sometimes you do slides. In the transcription I've got kind of the detail there. I mean, it's not too important there, as long as you've got the space before then you play the riff again. And remember, with this feel, you're coming in like a 16th early before the next bar, basically. So you've got like that. So you've got that. I play that with an upstroke, pan muted D, which ties into the next bar, and then you've got your 0-3-0, 5-0-3-0. Yeah. Then we have this. Yeah. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to be playing open D string. I'm going to play this what looks like a power chord shape, but of course we're going to drop D here. Yeah. So what I've got here is 9th fret of the D string there, 11th fret of the A string, and I'm going to go slide and then slide again. Yeah. Now, this is an interesting thing, like this is kind of part of the little horn stab and stuff. Nuno, when he's playing this live now, he doesn't play it up here, and I think I know why. He tends to play it down here now. You know, it's kind of like chord tones from like a, if it did like a D7, I guess, so it's like a third and a flat 7 when we're playing it here. It's like a flat 7 and a 5th. But once we've done that, we're going to play again, you know, so you get these little 2-bar chunks. Then we do it again, but before we do it, we go, you got a little fill like that. So what he does there is he does like, so I think of like a little down up kind of percussive sound. 3, little bend in the 3rd fret of the A string, and then 5th fret of the D string there. Then I do one of those. I'm doing open D string, and I bend slightly. There's a quarter kind of tone bend, 3rd fret, and then open D string, and then you're back in. Yeah, so that kind of goes. Yeah, and once you get into that kind of feel of it, the groove of this is just so good that you'll kind of roll along with it. And once we've done that, we have our and at the end we do that twice, and then we do this before we get into the pre-chorus. So what we're doing there is we're going to descend down 10th fret, 12th fret, down a fret, down a fret, 7th fret. And this is why I think probably Nuno plays it down here now, because what we're going to be doing when we get into the pre-chorus, we have to get down to this chord here. So I think when Nuno's playing this, it keeps him in that area of the neck. Or maybe just because the horns aren't there, maybe he's playing the kind of upper part of the horns, yeah. So that's your verse. So, talking to the pre-chorus, sounds like this. So for our pre-chorus, we start with this A power chord, but we're doing this really funky kind of idea here. So what I'm doing is I'm playing like this A power chord. We've just come in from the and that comes in the 16th of the bar before, so it has this kind of pushy feel. So you play that. So what I'm doing here is I'm playing that with an upstroke, that A power chord, and I'm just playing open A string and 2nd fret of the D string there. I'm not worried too much about hitting any more of it. Then what I'm going to do is play open A string again with an upstroke, so it's kind of a little T up. Then I'm going to do a hammer 3 to 4 in the A string, and then 2nd fret of that D string there. Very crunchy. Yeah. Then I play the A power chord again. Then I have this little percussive thing. So what I'm doing there is like an up down in that percussive, because this is our swung 16th feel again. So you've got that A power chord that you've just done. That's a downstroke on the beat, then it's up down like that, percussive, and then you've got the A power chord again on an upstroke. Okay, so you have that kind of groove. Then we do it again, but now what we would do is we do that little hammer, and you can maybe hear the 2 strings there. Then I've got a pan mute in that A string, and I'm leading into a C power chord, but what you hear is kind of like the 4th fret of the D and the G strings there, and then I move it into the C power chord here, so which I'm kind of batting with the 4th finger, but you can use 3rd and 4th finger, you know, so I'm just 3rd fret A, 5th and the D and G. And that kind of stays maybe a bit of vibrato there. So that's the first part of it. And you have this. Yeah. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to be playing a little sus, like a little D sus4 kind of shape. So I'm batting at the 7th fret D, G and B. But I've also got 8th fret the G string there. I'm using my middle finger. And what I'm going to do is hit that down, up, down, so it's like down, and take the sus off, take the 3rd finger off, so I'm just hearing 7th fret the B string now. And because it's so kind of groovy and percussive here, you might hear a little percussive sound when you're doing the upstroke, but if you keep that, you know, Nuno's always talked about this metronome kind of in his right hand, that's kind of what's going on. You've got this feel going on here. Then what I'm going to do is go to the like a C kind of triad here, so I'm batting 5th fret of the D, G and B strings at the here, 5th fret with the 1st finger. And you might just hear the D and G strings though. So I hit that, there's a little percussive hit, and then I'm doing 5, 7, 5 on those D and G strings. And then I go to an A power chord, lead into the next bit. So that kind of goes. Once we get to this bit here, it's similar to how we started when we play the open A string, I'm muted I think, with an upstroke, 3, 4 hammer with the 2nd, 3rd finger. We have this little thing now, so I do the hammer on, 2nd fret the D, then I'm going to do a bend up and down, 4th fret the G string, go off to the 2nd fret, but there's a pinch harmonic there. Yeah, then I play 4th fret the D string, and an A power chord again, so it's kind of that kind of thing when you play up to tempo. So it's kind of, it just gives me kind of country vibes, this sort of thing. Then I play open A string again, so I'm doing the usual 3, 4 hammer, playing A power chord. Then I've got this kind of pan muted A kind of power chord twice, and then I have the. And that time you might hear like an open A string as you're leading into the C power chord. And then what we're going to do here basically is climb up from a C power chord to a D power chord to an E power chord, but rhythmically yeah, so that's actually a little bit there, but once we've done this C power chord, so you're pan muting before you transition up, I'm hitting one of the kind of D and G strings there. Rhythmically you might have like a there, and a little pan mute sound before you move up to the E power chord here. Then I've got a pan muted 7th fret that A string, and I might hit that twice. Yeah, so you've got this kind of groove. Da, 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 da. You're doing the A string and then the rest of the chord. Yeah. And in this first pre-chorus, we end with this little fill. Yeah, so what we're doing here, it's kind of like an E pentatonic major. Little lick here. Play 9th fret of the B string. Let it sustain. Then I'm going to do 9 on the B string and 11 in the G string. And then there's a little kind of percussive sound there. And what I'm going to do is play 12th fret of the G string, then 9 on the B, 9 in the G, and then 11th fret in that D. But again, watch out for that swing. 1 and 2 and... Then I'm going to do a pull off 12-9 in the G string. And I think you could pick it like on the D string there, 11-9, or you could do a pull off as well if you want, but it helps with the speed of it. But I'm doing 12-9, 11-9 in the D string. And then I've got this bend at the B string there. But it sounds like Nuno kind of bends it and it just slightly overbends it, but it doesn't last very long before we get into kind of the chorus, yeah? And that's your pre-chorus part. The chorus sounds like this. So our chorus again starts with an A power chord, so you've just kind of come in the offbeat again. So I again like to play that with a kind of upstroke, sustains into the next bar. Then you have this. So what I'm going to be doing here is playing if you think about this, holding this 2nd fret, barring right across, D, G and B strings there. It's kind of A chord. I've got this little... I'm going to be playing like my 2nd finger 3rd fret B string, my 4th finger 5th fret B string. So playing around with this kind of sus and that kind of 5th there. But you do this, yeah, so when I play that A power chord, I'm going to palm mute it downstroke and play up with this middle finger on to play the kind of sus 4. Then what I'm going to do is do a down up on that A string and D string, so you've got that. Again, watch out for the swing. So the tricky thing here is getting that quick upstroke down. So it's like up, down, up, down, up. That kind of feel. And then I'm putting the 4th finger on at the 5th fret and I hit that with a downstroke there. So you've just done that down. Yeah. Then what I'm going to be doing is upstroke. This is tricky if you're used to doing things with downstrokes. Upstroke, palm mute on the kind of D and A strings there. Downstroke back to the 3rd fret and the D string there with the middle finger. Upstroke on the power chord, and then downstroke on that 2nd fret barred. So the G strings are barred at the 2nd fret. So it's that. Yeah, and it feels kind of weird doing that, but once you've done that, then you have this. So I'm holding this A chord, I'm going to do a hammer and pull off to the 2nd to 3rd fret of the B string, but I'm also playing that G string, the 2nd fret. And then I play 4th fret the D string with a palm mute. And then I'm take that 3rd finger off and I'm basically playing the D and G strings at the 2nd fret palm mute. And then open D and G strings there for a kind of little mini G power chord, but I play with upstroke and let it ring. Yeah. So this is one of these things that's a lot more involved to explain and can play it. So you've got when you can play it slow like that. Again, it's getting into the groove of it. Once you start to speed it up, you'll kind of get into that. I think what's awkward about this is this idea of doing that, like upstroke in the bass, downstroke in the chord, so it's kind of like syncopated in the offbeat sort of thing. Little slide down and you go. Yeah, it's a bit of a stretch here. What I'm playing, kind of this inverted G power chord here. Or it's an inverted G, so I've got my 1st finger at the 2nd fret, the A string there, and then I stretch the 3rd finger on the 5th fret of the D string. Now why am I doing that? Because I need this 4th finger to play 7th fret of the G string there, so I play that, move the 1st finger up, so I've now got like a C power chord, but I do palm mute on that A string. Then I'm going to put pinky on to get the stretch shape, so I've got 5th fret of the D and then 7th fret of the G. Then I move that pinky back and play that, so I've now got the, you know, the root and the 5th of the C power chord. Now what you hear, because Nuno double tracks all these rhythm parts, you'll hear one, a lot of this stuff when he plays this, there's a dig in and you hear a pinch harmonic at the 5th fret there, so when you're playing it, dig in and almost try and pinch harmonic the chord. Yeah. Then after that we have something sense like this. Yeah. So what I'm going to do here is I'm on this C power chord, I'm going to play 2nd fret of the A string, and that's kind of a lead in, so I'd play it with an upstroke. Then I'm going to play 5th fret of the A string with the pinky twice. So I'm going to play all these as little pairs, little down up pairs. So 5th fret, 2nd fret, open A string. Then I'm going to play 3, 4 on that D string. Then you might hear a slight bend on the 3rd fret. I think it's maybe just the fact because it's a thick string, you hear it slightly bending. Then I'm going to play that D string open twice. Then I'm going to play 3, 0 on that D string. Again, you might hear it, slight bend in it. And then I play open D string twice. Yeah, so that. And then we play all this again. Yeah. Then we have this a little bit of harmonics. So what I'm hearing Nuno play here is maybe like a 12th fret harmonic natural, 12th fret A string, 12th fret D string, that pair, then the pair, 12th fret harmonics on the D and the G strings. And it sounds like maybe a little open B string as he moves, and then plays 5th fret harmonic, B string, G, D string, G coming down. Yeah, so it's just a little kind of space filler, I guess. Then we have that again, so our little inverted kind of chord. And we end it off with this. Yeah. So sometimes I like to slide into that. I don't know, sure, I can't remember if Nuno does that, but that's a good way to kind of lead into it. But basically, again, hitting these notes twice with down up. But I'm doing 5th fret A, 4th fret in the D, 5th in the D, 6th in the D, 7th in the D, back down, 6, 5, 4. And then we get into another verse, which sounds like this. So our second verse has got a couple of little variations and a bit of flash in it. So we'd start off as usual. But this, we have this little kind of bend, and Nuno puts this in live. I think these are kind of overdubs. But what I'm doing here is I'm just doing a quick 12th fret G string bend, kind of staccato feel, or quite short with a bit of a gap, and then 10th fret of the G string with a bit of vibrato. Then you go. Usual thing again. But then Nuno plays this little double stop lick here. So what we're going to be doing here is I'm going to be do a little pull off 12, 10 in the D string, and then 12 in the A string. Then what we would do is I'm playing 10th fret of the D string, 11th fret of the G, play that as a little double stop, and then just move the note up to 11, 12 in the G string there. Yeah. Next time he does it, starts with the 10th fret. Here's a little pickup, 10th fret, then pull off 12, 10, 12 here. He bars across the 10th fret now, just the D and G strings, moves the note like that. So what you're playing with here is you're in D, you're playing with a minor third and a major third. That's what makes it sound kind of so bluesy, you know? Yeah, that's a little major third there. Minor third and major third. And then for the last part, he does that again, little pickup again, 10th fret D string. Yeah, it's actually a kind of little phrase. Yeah. Then we have this cool little tapping lick. So we lead into this My Nuno-esque here. I'm going to be doing 0 on the low D string and then 7, 12 on that string. Hammer from nowhere. And I do it on the A string, then do it on the D string. And it's triplets, so it's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then what I'm going to be doing here is I'm keeping that same 7, 12 fret thing going on in these strings here, but I'm tapping initially 19th fret, 17th fret, 16th fret, 14th fret there. But the tapping pattern is basically, so you're doing the tap twice to the 12th fret, pull off 7, open D string, 7, 12. So it's that. And then you just move the tap down, so it's 19th fret, 17th fret, 16th fret, 14th fret. Yeah, except this bit, when you do the pull off, you do 7, 12 hammer on there to transition to the A string, so it goes like that, yeah. And the transition, you do 7, 12 hammer, and then you're tapping 19th fret again on that A string, yeah. So it's like 17th fret, 16th fret, and then back up to 19th fret here. So don't go to 14, back up to 19. Yeah. Then I have, and it sounds like there's a little hammer. Instead of hearing a 7, 12, you just hear like a 12 fret hammer. But you're going to transition up to the G string now, and you're doing, yeah, and you're tapping down here. So you've got your 19th fret, 17th fret, yeah, and then you get to the 16th fret, and by this time you've kind of run out of time, and you play it a little. So I'm playing 9th fret D, 10th fret, 9th fret in the B string, and sliding up. You know, it's just kind of a little like the up here. Do it again, and you hear a little palm mute D string twice there or something. And then I'm going to do 10, 9, 8, 7 with that shape. Yeah. Yeah, before you lead to the next bit. Yeah. So that tapping bit is just, yeah, it's along those kind of ideas there. You'll get a feel for the timing when you need to change. So naturally, when you do this bit, you'll do that hammer 7 to 12 to get that bit there. Yeah. So after that, we have our next pre-chorus, which sounds like this. So the second pre-chorus is pretty much identical to the first one. It's just the ending's different. So when we get to the we just have that stab and E power chord before kind of lead into the chorus, yeah. So you've got all your usual. And then you lead into the chorus, yeah. So it's just that slight rhythmical variation at the end, which is kind of on the beat, yeah. And that next chorus sounds like this. So again, like the pre-chorus, our second chorus is pretty much the same. We're doing all the usual stuff we did before. It's just in the 6th bar, there's a little overdub. You have this little phrase that Nuno plays here. So what we're doing here is, I'm doing a little pull off 14 to 12 on the B string here, but I pick the 14th fret first, and then do the pull off. Then I play 14 in the G, and then 12 in the D. That's going to be our first little bit. Then I'm going to play that again, but I now start with the 15th fret. So it's 15th fret, B string, and then pull off, and then 14, 12, and then end it off with the 14, 12 pull off. Yeah, that's quite tricky to put in when you're playing along with it. You'll notice when Nuno plays this live, he doesn't really do that because I think it's an overdub and it's tricky to get, you know, get that bit down here. But you can try it, practice it and see if you can get it in there. And of course after that we're just usual. And that leads us into the guitar solo. So as I've said, I've already done a lesson on the guitar solo, but let's have a look at how the rhythm part sounds, or the other guitar part. So the solo part's actually at least 3 guitar tracks. You've kind of got the rhythm part, you've got Nuno playing the lead part, and then there's kind of, that continues. So the lead part actually splits into 2 different kind of guitar takes. In the live, Nuno will try to combine all 3, so you'll play this riff and then you'll do the solo kind of part. But the riff is just the verse riff. Yeah. So what I'm doing here is I'm just going to play that part but keep the rest. So you've got that riff, Nuno soloing for a bit. Yeah. Then each part now you can slide up and down. You kind of lead into it. Then you do that again. And in this bit here is when the I'll look at the kind of tail end of this lead guitar part. As I said, if you want to learn how to play the solo in great detail, please check out the Master Solo lesson. Go for all the notes and stuff that Nuno plays in the solo. But you have this bit. And then that guitar track continues underneath whilst Nuno plays the other part on top. And what we're doing here is basically, we've just done that, you know, we're coming down D pentatonic minor. You know, 13-10, but with the whammy bar bent back, so you're bending the note up. 13-10 in the B, 12-10 in the G, 12-10 in the D, then 12-11-10 in the A, to 8th fret, and then 10th fret. Let that sustain into the next bar. Yeah, then I'm going to do, so I bend the bar around this way, and I'm now going to dip and play a note, 12th fret A string there, and these are all going to last for kind of 2 beats. So that kind of goes 2, 3, 4, then I play 8th fret, the A string, then 10th fret, the A string. So I'm outlining a D pentatonic minor going down the A string here, 5th fret, he dips on that 8th fret there, and then end it on that C, that 3rd fret, the A string. And then the next 4 bars we'll go back up to 10th fret with a dip, 12th fret, 10th fret on the D string with a dip, 12th fret the G, 10th fret the B, and then 13th fret with a dip, and then you have the usual, the end of the kind of solo. So it's not a rhythm part as per se, it's just more kind of this texture underneath to kind of outline the kind of chord changes. Yeah. And after that, of course, we have our post solo riff, which sounds like this. So again, there's multiple tracks going on here. What I did there when I played it is I kind of played the lower part, but what we're doing is we're playing the kind of little fragment of a riff, or 0, and then 0, 3, 0. And then what we're going to do is outline like a 3, 2, 1 on the A string, or if you think about the other guitar part, like an octave shape, so like 3rd fret A, 5th fret of the G. So it's like, and that bar there is actually a beat shorter. It's like a bar 3-4 before we get into kind of the riff again. When Nuno's playing this live, sometimes he'll do play it as an octave, but sometimes he'll make sure he nails that like 4th fret the G string with a harmonic. So you can play it as an octave there and dig in a little bit more to get the harmonic. Play a harmonic there as well, or you could try and do it in all 3, or just play the upper part. You know, whatever. And then after that, basically, we're into kind of the riff again. All the same. Yeah, all that sort of stuff. And then again, we have the pick scrape down before we get into our 3rd chorus. So it's all pretty much the main riff there. And that 3rd chorus sounds like this. So in our 3rd chorus, everything's pretty much the same. There's just a little variation in the harmonics. So I guess 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the 6th bar, so you've just done the. You have this. So what he does is he plays up like a 12th fret harmonic at the A, D, G, and B string, and then he plays 5th fret harmonic B, G string. So and it's kind of like triplets. It's got 1 and a 2 under. And then you have it. Everything as we had before. And then we get into the 4th chorus, which sounds like this. So this is the last chorus with kind of the fade out, and then of course it fades back in again, but I'm not really going to look at that, but I'll talk about the little variations that Nuno puts in here. So we're playing our choruses before, but what he starts off with is, instead of doing the kind of very percussive something he does, he kind of staggers the rhythm a little bit here, and he plays more kind of sustaining chords. So you've got that downstroke there, and I've got the 2nd fret the you know, the A string there, and the 5th fret the B string, and I'm just letting it sustain. So I'm doing that 5th fret B string, then 3rd fret the B string there, the 2nd fret the G. Take that finger off, so you just get the 2nd fret and the G and the B, and then open G and B string. Then I'll do open G string, but 3rd fret the B string, 2nd fret B string, that open G, B string, and then 2nd fret again, and 3rd fret, and then you have a little hammer and pull off there, and then you're into, and you can definitely hear one track, a big pinch harmonic coming out of that 5th fret. It's a little bit there maybe, and then here he's got a very percussive. He plays a D power chord here, but you've got this kind of little percussive feel here, doing a down up, and then you've got triplets. So I'm doing like a down up down there with muted kind of with the left hand. And because of the way it's picking, then the next beat you might do up down, then down up down. Yeah, so you've got that kind of feel. Then you're back into this, but here. This is really interesting to hear. There's definitely a kind of percussive punchiness going on here, and I think what he's doing is he's doing the, instead of playing like a down up here, it's like a 16th note triplet. So you've got, so I would think of picking that like a down up with the middle finger on, like our sus that we did, and then when I do this triplet, I'm thinking up down up, and I might hear maybe the 2nd fret as well. So you've got that 3 notes, and then I've got my 4th finger on the 5th fret, the B string, and you can hear here that pulls off as he's doing like the palm mute and the A string there. Obviously you don't have to kind of get into that detail, and it's beginning to fade out here, but that's kind of all these little variations that go on. And then in that bar there, he does the same thing. He's got a palm mute in the D string, and he's playing open G, 2nd fret the B, 3rd fret, palm mute D, 2nd fret. So you've kind of got this 2, 3, 2, but the palm mute and the D strings. Then the G, B strings open, and then we have our. And this is almost hard to hear now, but it sounds like he's playing like a. At the very end there, but it's beginning to fade out. You can hardly hear what's going on. And basically, what he's doing, it's like a little D shape. So I'm playing 7th fret G, 8th fret B, 7th fret the high E string, and I'm doing that as like a 16th note kind of triplet pair. So it's like a down, up, down, down, up, down, or down, up, down, up, down, up. And you go up 2 frets, 9, 10, 9, and then 12th fret, and then up to the 14th fret, and slide off. So it's kind of on the beat. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, and then you can slide off. And at that point, it's kind of faded out, you know, and then it kind of comes back in again with the horns and stuff. So that last chorus, I mean, live though, obviously they can't fade out. I did it on the recording there just to kind of mirror it because it's quite tricky to kind of emulate that. But really, you're just kind of playing the chorus and you're having a muck about with it. Live, Nuno will start jamming on it and, you know, putting fills and things on it just to kind of fill it out. But that's kind of generally it, yeah. So that's it, guys. So we've basically got, you know, verse bits, pre-choruses and choruses, and then variations thereof, and obviously the main kind of riff. As I said, the solo, you can check out the lesson in that and the master of that solo. But hopefully that sheds a bit of light on how to play Li'L Jack Horny. The classic tab book from back in the day didn't exactly help with some things, but hopefully that's shed a bit more light on what's going on. But as usual, go and check out the footage of Nuno playing it. They hadn't really played it much live until obviously 25th anniversary Porn Graffiti, and now I don't know if it's, I can't remember if it's mainstay of the set now, but basically they've played it a lot more, so you can get to see plenty of footage of Nuno playing it live, which is always good. So as I mentioned at the start, if you want access to the HELIX patch or the tone tips I've got for creating the sound, try and get close to Nuno's tone, come on over to the Patreon, you've got that access to that, as well, of course, as to the sound slice page with this, where you can loop bits, slow things down, try and work on tricky bits. You can isolate guitar parts and make your backing track, all that sort of stuff. So that's all available in the sound slice page, as well as a Guitar Pro tab if you want access to that as well, if you use Guitar Pro. So you can get all that at Patreon, as well as a lot more other things on there. Okay, so if you enjoyed this video, if you want to watch any more of kind of Nuno stuff I've done, I've got a lesson in Decadence Dance, I've got a whole kind of playlist with Nuno's riffs and things in it. So come on over to the channel, search that out, and you can learn even more kind of Nuno. Okay, so thanks for watching, guys, good luck with that, and I'll see you soon.